Good morning and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be picking my next reads. Now I have so many books on my TBR and I want to read all of them. I have no idea where to start because they are all exciting me and I don't know which one to pick. So I thought it would be a good reason to use my TBR jar and TBR cart. So I set both of these up in a previous video, which was a lot of fun, so be sure to check that out. But this is the first time that I'm actually going to be using my TBR jar and cart. Now I think I want one physical book and one Kindle book because I find it a lot easier to use Kindle books when I am commuting. However, I prefer physical books. So I want one of each for the week, and we are going to use our jar and pick one of each. Now this looks really full. I have 25 prompts in here, but the post-it notes that I used were quite large, so it filled it up quite quickly. So let's choose the first prompt. I'm going to try and get one towards a bit lower down or maybe towards the middle, but they were post-it notes, so they're kind of stuck together a little bit, but I really liked the shape of the hearts, which is why I used it. Okay, we've got our first prompt, which a book with under 500 pages. Okay, I think we may have a couple of options for this. We have many options for this, so let's go through all of them. The first one is Throne of Glass, so the first book in the Throne of Glass series by SJM. This is a series that I really want to read. ACOTAR was one of the first series that got me back into reading, so I definitely want to read more SJM. I also really want to read Crescent City, but I know that you're supposed to read the other SJM books because they're kind of all in the same world. So this is definitely an option. Light Lark. I definitely want to read this, but it's not too high up on my TBR, so I think I'm actually going to put that back. This is high up on my TBR for spring, so this is definitely also an option. Legends and Lattes. I want to read this, but it's not a priority, so I'm also going to put this book back. The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. I do want to read this, but I also feel like perhaps it's more of an autumn read, so I'm also going to put this one back. An Ember in the Ashes. This is definitely a series that I want to start, so I think this is also an option for me to read. And then we have Beach Read and Book Lovers. As much as I want to read some Emily Henry books, I think I might save these for another point. I definitely want to read fantasy book right now, so this might be for another time when I want a bit of a break from fantasy. So that means we have three options. We've got Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, An Ember in the Ashes, and Throne of Glass. I think I really want to start the Throne of Glass series because I want to be able to read this and also read Crescent City. So I think this is a good way for me to start this series, which means this is the first book we have chosen. I have 3 tones of pink in here, and I think I want to pick one of the darker pinks. They don't have any differences in terms of they're not grouped by anything. They're just, I wanted to do a couple of different colors. So let's choose a dark pink one. So this is the dark pink one. So this says an anticipated read. Okay, so I do want to choose a book that is on Kindle Unlimited as well. So let me grab my iPad. Out of the ones on Kindle Unlimited, we actually have a few options. First option is The Serpent and the Wings of Night, which is a very popular series that I hear a lot about, so it's definitely something that I want to read. Second one is Phantasma, which is a dark fantasy romance. This sounds really fun and definitely different to what I usually read. I don't think I've ever read a dark romance before, so it would be a bit outside of my normal reading, but it's something I'm excited to read. Then there is City of Gods and Monsters, which is the first book in the House of Devil series. This is also an urban fantasy, so it's definitely something I want to read. And then the fourth, is it the fourth one? Yeah, the fourth option is the Book of Asriel, which I've also heard a lot about. It's a darker romantasy. I think out of all of these, the ones that I'm most excited to read right now is Phantasma. So, Phantasma is a dark fantasy romance, and it's got like a deadly game in there inside of a haunted mansion. So, it sounds really fun and definitely different to any book that I've read. So, I believe that is the second one that we're choosing. Those are the two books that we are choosing, and I'm very excited to read those this week. Good morning. So I have been reading Throne of Glass. I am about 19% through and about to start chapter 11. I am thoroughly enjoying this. I enjoy the main character, and I find that with SJM books, you just instantly get immersed into the world. So I'm really enjoying that. I also have found that I enjoy the perspective, the POV of this novel and how it's written. So this is written in third person perspective, third person limited perspective, which essentially means it's written in third person, but you only know what the character knows, which I'm really enjoying. I also enjoy the fact that whilst the third person limited is mainly from our main character's view, we also get a couple of other characters as well in that same perspective throughout, which I'm really enjoying, and I'm really loving the writing style and the voice of this. So I'm hoping to be able to read a chunk of this evening. It has gotten colder again, the sun is no longer out, there's clouds everywhere. So this evening will be a good time to have like a cozy evening in of reading, which I really am looking forward to. I actually think after this evening, I will put a pause on the book simply because when reading physical books, I like to have a chunk of time to really read them. And the next couple of days, I'm going to be commuting. So I tried to read this yesterday whilst I was commuting, and it was a bit irritating because I couldn't really get into it, and I could only read like a page or two and then I had to stop. So what I'm going to do is after this evening's reading session, I will pause it. The next couple of days, I will then pick up Phantasma on Kindle Unlimited and also get the audio version of this because it's just so much easier to open my Kindle app on my phone whilst I'm commuting. And also because I often get the audio versions when I'm walking to and from stations and stuff, I can just listen to the book because it auto syncs. So because of that, my plan is to start Phantasma tomorrow and listen to that over the next couple of days. And then when the weekend comes back around, I can pick up Throne of Glass in physical form again and just really enjoy and immerse myself into this world. But so far, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And that is my plan for the rest of the week. Good morning. So I have officially finished reading Phantasma. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. It had me hooked pretty early on and kept it that way. Essentially, we follow Ophelia, who is our main character. This is set in New Orleans or New Orleans. I never quite know how to pronounce it, but that's where we're set. And she ends up joining this competition in order to save her sister. We've got ghosts, we've got ghouls. It's very atmospheric, very dark, and very, very enjoyable. I really enjoyed this book. I liked our main character. I liked our love interest. I just really enjoyed the book. I am starting to realize that I enjoy dark gothic fantasy. Overall, I gave this a 4.25 star rating. It just didn't quite give me the 5-star feeling, and I think part of that had to do with the ending. Everything got tied up in a nice neat bow, which is great, but I just felt that the ending was perhaps not rushed, but just I would have loved to spend more time in the ending and had things revealed to us a bit slower, just had a few more chapters on the ending so we could experience that a bit more, which is why the rating bumped down a little bit for me. But overall, I still really enjoyed it. This is a dark gothic fantasy, and I'm starting to realize that I really enjoy that genre because the Shepherd King duology was also a dark gothic fantasy, and I loved both of those books. So it's definitely a genre I need to pick up more often. There is actually a second book in this series. It's an interconnected standalone. So we essentially follow the sister of our main character in the first book, and we follow her. Her name is Genevieve. We follow her to Italy. I believe she ends up in Italy, and she ends up in a competition or something as well. So that has been added to my TBR already, and I look forward to reading that very soon. In terms of Throne of Glass, I actually read a chunk of this yesterday evening and this morning, so I've only got 100 pages left, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm now realizing both of the books I've read this week have had like a competition in them, so that must be a trope that I enjoy. I'm still enjoying our main character. I like the main plot. I'm also enjoying the side plots because we're having some mystery and some things that are trying to be discovered and uncovered, and I'm really enjoying that as well. I'm liking getting to know more of the world, more of the side characters. I think I said that already. But yes, I'm enjoying that. Now, I also enjoy the writing style still. I've thoroughly enjoyed the journey of reading this. Now, like I said, we do only have 100 pages left. From reading ACOTAR, I know the last 100 pages of an SJM book are crazy. And I also know that because this is part of a much wider series, I'm a bit worried that we're going to be left with so many cliffhangers. There's just going to be a lot of information and a lot of things going on. So I'm a bit nervous for that. But I am hoping to continue and finish this book. If not tonight, then tomorrow. I finished reading Throne of Glass this morning. 5 stars. 5 stars. I've actually already started to reread and annotate some of it because, yeah, 5-star read. I really, really enjoyed this book. Same things as what I've already mentioned in this video in terms of the character and the plot that have just kept me enticed. But I'm also just enjoying the fact that recently I've been reading a lot of romantasy, so it was nice to read a book that was more focused on the fantasy and the world and the main character rather than focusing so much on the romance. So it was nice to have a book like that, and it's made me very excited to continue with the series. Also, because this is the first book in the series, we're getting kind of an insight or a first taster in terms of the history of the world and the setup and the magic and the different lands that exist, which I love. I love all of that kind of world building and setup. So I really, really enjoyed that. And I hope that in the future books, we get to hear more about the magic and the other lands that exist, and we get to explore those a little bit more, which I think we will. It was a great first book, and it's made me so excited to continue the story, to hopefully meet some new characters, to see more of the world, and to just really get into this fantasy realm. It's made me so excited to continue with the series. Both of the books that I've read this week have been wonderful. Firstly, Phantasma. This really reminded me of how much I thoroughly enjoyed dark fantasy or dark gothic fantasy, and so I really need to start picking more of those up because I loved it. And then Throne of Glass, I've been wanting to read this for a while. When I started to get back into fantasy books, which was towards the end of 2024, I read ACOTAR, and everyone always speaks about ACOTAR and Throne of Glass kind of in tandem, and so this has been on my TBR for such a long time, and I'm so glad that I finally started it and can really get into the series because I am very excited to do so. I also really enjoyed using my TBR jar. I have so many books on my physical TBR and just like in general on Kindle Unlimited and also on my Fable. Because of that, sometimes I just really don't know which book to choose because there are so many that I want to read. And so using my TBR jar really helped me to just narrow down and use a prompt to decide what book to read next. So that was really fun, and I would definitely be doing that more often. But that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!